Alright, cool. Back again with another video. If you're wondering why either you saw this video first or this video second, and I'm wearing the same things because I did both of these videos at the same time. Fun fact, we're gonna push all these videos out. We're gonna be successful on YouTube this year, y'all. Alright, cool. Today we are talking about the R5. This is it right here. I recently got the R5. I think y'all saw the unboxing. If you haven't, go look at it. I hope I'm putting this card up in the right place. But this is the R5, and I just want to talk with y'all about how do I feel after 3 weeks of using the R5. So I got a few points for you, few pros, few cons, and then gonna give you my overarching feelings similar to the other video if you saw it first, or maybe not if you saw it second. You know, we'll see what happens. But here's my pros and cons about the R5 3 weeks later. Mini review. Alright, so we're gonna shoot through these. Pro number one for the R5 is size. I've been shooting with the 1DX Mark III for over a year right now, and switching from the 1DX Mark III to using the R5 on a day-to-day. I still have my 1DX Mark III. I just been using the R5 for the last couple of days. It is a light camera, very much compared. Now, when you add that giant 50mm, let me just show y'all real quick. See how my shit will focus. Yeah, if you see this, it's huge. It's absolutely, it's just a huge camera, huge lens on a small camera, but it's still smaller than the 1DX Mark III overall. It's just better on your back. It's better for travel. It's not as bulky, so I can be a little bit more flexible with what type of camera bags I'm using. You know, as photographers, we gotta be careful about our gear. It's just the truth behind it. Number two, file detail. The files on this camera look gorgeous. I was looking at the RAWs when I first got it. I was like, is this a RAW? I was like, this can't be a RAW. This got way too much detail to be a RAW. I was like, this looks amazing. The file details in this camera, which is, I believe, a 45 megapixel camera, something in that range. It shows, like you can see it when jumping from 20 to 24, which I'm more used to this nearly double the megapixel. It's just a beautiful thing. One of the other ways I noticed it, there was a couple shots I had to crop in, and just seeing the detail that was still left in the middle, it was just, yeah, you can't beat that file size, the file details when shooting with it. Point number three, the autofocus. The autofocus is good. It's smooth. I can't say that I prefer it over my 1DX Mark III, in the sense, and it's not necessarily actually the autofocusing that the camera is doing. It caught on to everything. It's the process to which I control the autofocus. I think Canon should just straight across board put that little knob that they have on the 1DX Mark III on all their cameras. That's my personal opinion. But when it just comes to locking on the face, finding the eye, amazing. Sorry, I went on a little tangent that I probably shouldn't have went on because I got that point later, but we'll talk about that again. Number four, no major crop on video. Y'all know Canon is known for the cropping in a video. Absolutely known for cropping for 4K or their bigger sizes. There's no real major crop, and it's a blessing. I'm probably gonna shoot all my YouTube videos from now on in 4K, not on this RP because you see my little design. You know, I'm trying my best, y'all. But it's just a better crop on having no crop on like 4K footage, so that just gives you more flexibility as a creator. Number five, oh, I'm flying through these. Flippy screen. The one thing I've always wished on my 1DX Mark III, as much as I loved it, as much as I love my 5D Mark IV, and I got the 6D Mark II, but it's not the other two cameras, right? It's because it just needed a flip screen. The 1DX Mark III had a flip screen. I think it would have been the perfect camera. It's great that they put it in the R3. I'm hoping they put it in the R1. But having that flip screen on a powerful camera, it saves so much time. It makes you a little bit more comfortable with your video. It's a little bit more flexibility when you're going out to shoot, to how you're holding your camera, to get better angles, to see a little bit more. I'm a bigger dude. I ain't really trying to get on the ground too much, so being able to point the camera in a way that helps me get low without having to be actually on the floor, it's always nice. Right, cool. So Now we're gonna talk about the cons. So I'm gonna go ahead with the one I kind of spoke about earlier. The autofocusing on the R5 is great. My only issue is with the actual system of focusing. So what you do, and so like I'll make an example with my phone, right? So imagine this is the back LCD screen. You actually put your thumb right here, and they have the joystick and everything like that. But if you really want to, for me, what was most comfortable for focusing, putting your setting up the LCD screen to actually boom, 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 boom to move the focal points. It's good. Is to me just a lazier version of what the 1DX Mark III have. Having that little autofocus knob, oh my god, it's so good that it's hard to go back. It's like, y'all can just put that on there. We don't actually need anything else but that. It works really well, and I just think it should be a staple across all cameras. It's just too good to not just be places. And then too, even with that system, what I was also having like some struggles with is like sometimes how long my thumb was, or because it's not, I don't think I have I have a large hand, but I don't have like the longest thumb, and so like it felt like I had to move my hand and put it back over, when it felt like when I had the 1DX Mark III, moving over those moving over those points just swift, and I didn't feel like I missed anything, so it was slightly slower. So I know I'm jumping, just being honest, I'm jumping from a flagship to now 2 cameras down in the Canon system, but I just think it should be there. It's number 2. All right, cool. So number 2 of my cons is going to be file sizes for the actual camera when you take a picture. So I know I can shoot compress. I am in love with like the details, but those are some big files, y'all. They'll fill up a hard drive, they'll fill up a solid state drive very, very quick. So you gotta kind of be mindful with the 1DX or the 5D Mark IV. You got 20 megapixels, so like even when you're getting like the full size images, like it's very manageable. Like a 1 terabyte solid state drive, like it covers everything. Now looking at these the R5, excuse me, the R5 files, I'm like, okay, then you gotta be a little bit more mindful about how often you shoot. A lot of times I'll just keep stuff on my card, and then it takes me a while before I actually format my card, just because I like to have a backup a lot. But this is just filling up the cards a whole lot faster. So it's just one thing, like the file size comes with having those more megapixels, and maybe I'll try to compress pretty soon, but right now I'm just gonna deal with it, but I'm gonna mark it as a con. My number 3 is the battery life. Yeah, the battery life ain't the best. Yeah, it's just not. And then really the thing that irks me is that to use the camera at its most powerful, essentially the battery has to be at full power, right? And I think that's kind of like a goofy rule. I'm not sure if it just drains faster. I think it's like 80%. Once it's at 80%, you don't get the full frames per second anymore. With the R5, kind of a goofy. That's a little bit goofy. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. It's a little goofy, but it is what it is. And so with that, it just drains the battery a lot. So it's definitely a camera that you want to have a battery grip and like 2 to 3 backup batteries. And honestly, I'm not even comfortable getting off-brand batteries with these at all. So you might just want to spend the extra money to actually get the batteries from Canon. If they're not a shortage, which there's been, I'm gonna keep bringing it up. It's a shortage until there's no longer a shortage, because I really did want that 28 to 70. And yeah, sorry, I'm venting. All right, we're gonna go to number 4, the mixed card slots. I like having 2 dual CF Express Type B cards. I think when you have a powerful camera, when you have a camera with a lot of specs like the R5, not having the same type of reading system onto a card it's not the thing that I like. 2 is because the files are so big and they're so powerful. I would rather it read to those bigger CF Express cards instead of being slowed down by SD card. Now I know I can get bigger and faster SD cards, but it's not the same thing. You'll see it if maybe one day we'll do a comparison. If you look at how fast, like there's not really a buffer on a CF Express B card, except for the card being filled up. On an SD card, there's always a buffer being shown. So like I just like that comfort, that space, and just that power always in the system. So it just is what it is. But those are my cons. Alright, so just to wrap up this video with my final thoughts, the R5 right here, it is truly, it's a great camera. Like, you know, and you won't hear me say that about a lot of cameras. Like, they're just great cameras because that's what they are. When you come from like a T2i from T2Is to the 90 series to the 70 series, and you get to these cameras, you just realize that like all of them are just amazing pieces of art, pieces of machinery that like anyone should be able to get the shot that they need. But of course, as creators, we should nitpick and we should encourage the system to continue to improve. And the R5 is definitely an improvement, especially as I compare it to my 5D Mark IV, which is like, you know, I'm not sure if it's official, but the R5 is technically the mirrorless version of the 5D Mark IV. That's just the way I see it. I could be wrong, y'all. Y'all can let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. But it's just a camera that did a lot right. Now, I personally haven't had an issue with overheating. I'll throw that in there too. But I also don't do long form video, and maybe it'll start as I start using this one more for YouTube. I'll give an update. But when it comes to as a photographer and someone who kind of does video, who seldom does, it's probably 80-20 my photography to video spread. It's gonna be more because of all these YouTube videos. But as someone who's in that place, it does everything fine. The 8K is great. Horrible to edit. You're not gonna see no 8K footage from me. Me and Mr. iMac back there, we ain't dealing with it. But at 4K, it'll work for me. It's good. It's good for me. But that's just the life of it. So it's definitely a camera I think is wise for anyone who is in the wedding and portrait photography world. Really is to me it's kind of like a combination of the 5D Mark IV and the 5DSR. I think that's what it's called. It was Canon's like high megapixel camera back in the day type situation, and it does everything, a lot of things well. It's not faster than I would say the 1DX Mark III when it comes to like sporting events, but it's fast enough to do everything that you need. The eye autofocus is amazing. I'm gonna try these animals pretty soon, but like it just does everything that you need, and it's a lighter frame compared to the DSLRs, so that's always nice. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's definitely a camera for 2022. If I had to give it a score, it would definitely be like my score would probably be out of 5, so I'll probably give it a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5. And really, it just comes down to I really don't like that there's two different card slots, and I don't care for the fact that the battery runs out so fast, and that when the battery goes past a certain point, it affects the ability of the camera. Everything else is perfect though. Those are just my two cents of like why I think this camera could be better. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope y'all have enjoyed my content. Please like and subscribe. This is Dean Charles Anthony II, and I'm out. Thank y'all.